In real estate, client relationship management is the cornerstone of success. It's more than just closing deals, it's about building lasting relationships. Today, Property Coach will be coaching you on building trust and rapport with your clients, sharpening your communication skills, and confidently handling difficult situations. Let's start with building trust and rapport. Trust is the foundation of any successful client relationship. People do business with agents they know and trust. When clients trust you, they're more likely to take your advice, stay loyal, and refer others to you. So how do you build that trust? First, be transparent and honest. Imagine you're working with a first-time homebuyer who has their heart set on a particular property. You've researched and realized that the home is significantly overpriced for the neighborhood. Instead of just showing the home and hoping they'll make an offer, you sit down with them and explain why the price is higher than the market value. Show them comparable properties that have sold recently and suggest a more reasonable offer. Next, show empathy and understanding. For example, consider a client who's selling their family home after the loss of a loved one. This is an emotional time for them, and they may be hesitant or even indecisive. Empathy helps build a strong rapport, and they'll remember how you treated them during such a difficult time. Consistency is key. Follow through on your promises. Suppose you've promised a client that you'll provide a detailed market analysis by the end of the week. Make it a priority to deliver on time. Also, personalize your interactions. Let's say you're working with a young couple who's excited about starting a family, who mentioned that they'd love to live in a neighborhood with good schools and lots of parks. Take note of this and regularly send them updates on homes in areas that match their criteria, even if they haven't explicitly asked for them. And finally, be accessible and approachable. Imagine a client who's anxious about the home buying process because it's their first time. They send you a late-night text with a question about their loan application. Even though it's outside your usual working hours, you reply promptly with a reassuring message, letting them know you'll follow up in detail the next morning. This responsiveness helps ease their worries and reinforces that you're there for them every step of the way. Next, we will be discussing some effective communication skills, as it is crucial in real estate. Clear communication ensures that both you and your clients are on the same page. Start with active listening. Picture a scenario where you're meeting a client who's looking for their dream home. They begin describing their ideal property, mentioning things like a spacious kitchen, lots of natural light, and a quiet neighborhood. Instead of jumping in with suggestions right away, you listen carefully, taking mental notes of all the details. Later, when you present them with options, you make sure each property aligns with what they described. 2. Ask open-ended questions to encourage clients to share more. For example, instead of asking, "Do you like this house?" which might only get you a yes or no, try asking, "What do you like or dislike about this house?" This invites your client to share their thoughts more freely, giving you insights into their preferences. When they answer, ask them to elaborate by asking, "Why is that important to you?" Knowing the reason behind the need makes it easier for you to find their perfect home. 3. Clarify. Clarify and summarize to ensure you've understood correctly. After a conversation about what a client is looking for, you might say, "So, if I understand correctly, you're looking for a home with a large backyard, a modern kitchen, and within walking distance to good schools?" 4. Be clear and concise in your explanations. Suppose you're discussing a complex topic like the contingencies in a purchase agreement. Instead of using industry jargon, break it down into simple terms. You might say, "This part of the contract says that the sale will only go through if your financing is approved and the home inspection comes back without any major issues." 5. Use positive language to keep the conversation constructive. For example, instead of saying, "This house isn't available anymore," you could say, "This house has just been sold, but I have a few other options that might interest you." This keeps the focus on the positive and opens the door to new opportunities. 6. Nonverbal communication. Imagine you're in a meeting with a client who's feeling uncertain about making an offer. By maintaining steady eye contact, nodding as they speak, and leaning in slightly, you convey that you're engaged and supportive. This nonverbal communication can be just as important as the words you say, helping to build trust and comfort. Now let's talk about handling difficult clients and negotiations. First, stay calm and patient. Suppose you're dealing with a client who's frustrated because a deal fell through due to a low appraisal. They're angry and might even blame you. Instead of getting defensive, you remain calm and listen to their concerns. You explain the reasons behind the low appraisal and discuss the steps you can take to appeal the decision or explore other properties. 2. Empathize. Empathize and acknowledge their concerns. Let's say you have a client who's anxious because their offer on a home was outbid and they're worried about finding another suitable property in a competitive market. You might say, "I know it's disappointing to lose out on a home you liked, especially in this market, but I'm here to help you find another great option, and I'm confident we'll find something that meets your needs." 3. Expectation management. Set boundaries and manage expectations to protect your time and energy. Imagine you have a client who frequently calls late at night with non-urgent questions. To manage this, you might say, "I'm always available for urgent matters, but for non-urgent questions, I typically respond within 24 hours. This allows me to give each of my clients the attention they deserve." Setting these boundaries helps ensure that your time is respected while still providing excellent service. 4. Offer solutions. For example, suppose a closing is delayed due to an issue with the title. Instead of just saying, "I'm sorry for the delay," you might say, "I apologize for the inconvenience this has caused. Here's what we can do. I'll work with the title company that attends to the transfer to expedite the process, and in the meantime, I'll keep you updated until this is resolved." After several attempts to align on a strategy, it becomes clear that the relationship is not productive. You might say, "It seems like we're not on the same page, and I want to make sure you get the best possible service." Last, on to negotiations. Start by preparing thoroughly. Imagine you're negotiating a purchase price for a client. You've done your homework, gathered comparable sales data, and know the seller's motivations. Armed with this information, you confidently present an offer that's both competitive and fair. 1. Be understanding. Understand the other party's position. Suppose you're representing a buyer and you learn that the seller is in a hurry to close because they've already purchased another home. You can use this information to your advantage by offering a quicker closing date in exchange for a lower purchase price. By understanding what the other party values most, you can find ways to create a win-win situation. 2. Be willing to compromise. Negotiations often involve give and take. For example, let's say your client is buying a home and the inspection reveals some minor issues. The seller isn't willing to lower the price, but they're open to covering the cost of repairs. You discuss this with your client and agree that accepting the repairs is a reasonable compromise. This flexibility helps keep the deal on track. Always put what is agreed in writing and get all the parties involved to sign where needed. 3. Stay professional and polite, even in tough negotiations. Imagine you're in a negotiation where the seller is being particularly aggressive, trying to push your client into accepting unfavorable terms. Instead of reacting emotionally, you remain calm, reiterate your client's position clearly, and continue to negotiate based on the facts. Your professionalism not only helps protect your client's interests, but also ensures that the conversation remains respectful and productive. 5. Know when to hold firm. In real estate, knowing when to hold firm is a critical skill. Sometimes, walking away is the best strategy. It's important not to compromise your client's needs or settle for a deal that doesn't serve their best interests. Don't be afraid to stand your ground if the terms aren't right. In conclusion, client relationship management is about more than just making a sale. It's about building long-term relationships based on trust, effective communication, and the ability to handle challenges with grace. By mastering these skills, you'll not only close more deals, but also build a loyal client base that will refer you to others for years to come. Remember, strong relationships are the key to lasting success in real estate. Thank you for listening. Now go out there and build those strong, lasting relationships that will set you apart in the real estate world. Like and subscribe for more from Property Coach.